Welcome back to Pound for Pound ATL.
It's Pound for Pound ATL.
What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another rendition of the Pound for Pound. Well, we did it. We made it. We are squarely in the dog days of summer. What I mean by that is there just isn't much going on as far as news happening around our team. Camp is still a few weeks off, hoping that we can have camp. Everything's pointing in that direction right now, but who knows with all this pandemic stuff going on, whether we're going to actually have it or not. But anyway, so we are squarely in the days of not much going on, not much happening with the team, not much news going on right now. So I took a quote from Twitter, or took a tweet, I guess you could say. It was something one of our followers tweeted at us a few weeks ago, maybe a week or so ago now, from our homeboy Brian, asking, who did we trust more, the offense or the defense? Well, I thought to myself, I was like, that's a real good question. I said, 2 minutes left on the clock, last possession of the game type situation. Who do you trust more? Do you trust the offense led by, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones? Or do you trust the defense led by Grady Jarrett or Deion Jones? It was a pretty interesting question, and there was some relatively interesting responses to that. A lot of people trusted the offense, or said they trusted the offense with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, saying that they have been more consistent as the years have gone on and like leading up to this season. My initial response was that I trusted the defense more. Now, the reason why I initially said that was because of the leadership and experience of Raheem Morris. I felt like what you saw in the second half of 2019 has me confident going into 2020. Now, we'll see if they can produce that. We have lost some pieces and we have added some pieces. So it'll be interesting to see how they mesh, especially these rookies. I'm pretty sure they're going to be counting on A.J. Terrell to step into a big role. And as far as I know, they haven't actually laid eyes on him yet. So that's going to be really interesting going into this season to see how quickly they can get these guys up to speed. I know that they've had their Zoom calls and their virtual meetings and the virtual off seasons and stuff like that. But let's just be real. None of that can really replicate what you're going to get by being in the facility with the coaches and with your peers. So Raheem Morris has got a tall task ahead of him. He's got to turn around what has historically been a mediocre or below average unit at best. Now, you had stretches where they have shown to be above average. The second half of 2016, which propelled us into the Super Bowl. And in 2017, they were an above average defense for most of the year. They just didn't have the offense to back them up that year. So anyway, as I was doing some research for this video to see what kind of argument I can make on who I actually trusted, I come across some interesting things that tends to back up the people's thoughts of trusting the offense over trusting the defense. From 2012 to 2019, Matt Ryan has averaged 4,655 passing yards while completing 67.3% of his passes. That's pretty good. That ranks top 5 in pretty much every quarterback category, okay? No matter how you want to grade it, whether it's PFF or just looking at the raw numbers, Ryan stacks up as one of the best in the league. So it's hard not to throw your lot in with him, and not to say that you trust, Matt Ryan. Now, especially when you pair him with Julio Jones, who I used in this particular case a lot of Pro Football Focus, PFF, their grades and stuff like that, because sometimes it's catching on, and people are using them more as a gauge. So I went ahead and went with it myself this time. Julio Jones graded out at a 90.6 PFF grade, which is a top 5 wide receiver. He's graded out that way since 2013. That's a long time to be in a top 5, especially as he's getting older now, but he's still producing. All right. So I'm assuming as long as you have Matt Ryan and Julio Jones on the field, you've got more than a fighting chance. Now, we're going to add in Calvin Ridley to this mix. And Calvin Ridley, on 23.1% of his targets in 2019, were over 20 yards downfield. Now, we absolutely love to lambaste Michael Thomas of the Saints for running, all his routes being less than 10 yards downfield. But here's actual proof that 23% of Calvin Ridley's targets were 20-plus yards downfield. Those targets produced 10 receptions for 266 yards and 4 touchdowns. There's nothing to slouch at there. So now we're going to cap all that offensive performance off with one Todd Gurley. Now, Todd Gurley last year converted 30%. He had a 30% conversion rate against the loaded box. Now, the conversion rate is either a first down or a touchdown. 30% of the time, even against, everybody in the stadium knew that he was fixing to run the ball. So they loaded the box, everything else, and he was still able to convert 30% of the time. That's a 300 batting average for all you baseball fans out there. We praise baseball players for a 30% average. So for those who are looking for yet another reason to be excited about Todd Gurley joining the Atlanta Falcons, that's another one right there. And I know he forced quite a few missed tackles as well. So by the numbers and by the metrics, we are getting an upgrade at running back and a very deadly wide receiver duo in Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, capped off with at minimum top 5 quarterback in this league. Now, Matt Ryan, since all this went on, Matt Ryan, in a interview with Barstool Sports, came out and flat out said that he felt like he was the best quarterback in the NFC South. Me, for one, I'm glad to hear Matt Ryan actually being more vocal this year, whether it be his stances on social justice or his opinion of where he ranks amongst his peers. I'm glad to hear him actually speaking out. Yes, I agree. I think he is probably the best quarterback in the NFC South. Now, you can sit there and just tell me, well, JR, there's Drew Brees who's won a Super Bowl. I got you. Drew Brees has won a Super Bowl. But if I'm not mistaken, in some of the biggest plays last year, he wasn't on the field. His coach took him off for Tyson Hill. So that tells me right there all I need to know about Drew Brees going forward. I always say, well, JR, down there at Tampa Bay, they got the GOAT, Tom Brady. He is the GOAT. I will not lie. I mean, the man's got a ton of rings to prove it. I'm not going to argue with it. I don't know what he's bringing to the table in 2020. Not on a new team, playing in Florida, outside, and a new coach, and not having a normal off season. If we had normal off seasons and they've been able to do the things that they normally are able to do, I might be a tad bit more worried. So it'd be interesting to see how Tom Brady performs down there. I mean, I know he's got Rob Gronkowski with him, but that's Rob Gronkowski removed 1 year from football. Now, we all saw what happened with Tony Gonzalez looked like just being an off season removed. It took him quite a while to get up and going. So I'll be interested to see what Mr. Gronkowski looks like. Well, that kind of wraps up. That's my argument there for the offensive side. Okay. Now, let's get into the defensive side. I don't have as many stats on the defensive side because apparently the defense isn't sexy. So there just isn't a ton of stats out there that you don't have to pay for. I know that sounds bad, but I don't have a subscription to, a lot of these stat sites. But anyway, Deion Jones. He, in 2019, was the fifth best coverage linebacker in the league with an 82.9 grade. All right. That is the second time in his career that he's been in the top 10. The first time was in 2016, 2016, he graded out as number 1, as the best covered linebacker in his rookie season. So, obviously he's missing time with injury, but come back last year, took him a little bit to get rounded into form, but even what I consider to be somewhat of a down year, he was still the 5th best coverage linebacker, in the league. So he's heading up our linebacking core, obviously. Now we're sans Devondre Campbell, which most of our fans don't seem to really be all that concerned about missing Devondre Campbell. But I'm really hoping that Deon Buchanan or Michael Walker can fill in some of the things that Devondre Campbell did. Now, the headline of the defense, in my opinion, especially right now, is Grady Jarrett. The man is a monster, and he's only second to Aaron Donald. Now let that sink in for a second. As far as interior defensive linemen go, the only one who grades out any better than Grady Jarrett is Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald is arguably the best, and is the best it has been for a few years now. So for Grady Jarrett to consistently be up in that talk with him, definitely in back-to-back seasons, 2018 and 2019, he graded out with elite grades, which is over the 90 mark. In the second half of games last year, he graded out with an 88.2 grade. That means he's a closer. That means in the second half of games is when Grady Jarrett is just absolutely heating up and trying to take over a game. So with the combination of Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones leading this charge, I am pretty confident about the defense. Now, you also have Raheem Morris at the helm, who has a very clear vision of what he wants this team to be, and the direction that he wants this defense to go. Now, Dan Quinn had a vision last year, but it was just way off base. It didn't work out, and he tried to simplify it in a way that just made it way too easy and way too predictable. What made the defense, get better results in the second half of last season was Raheem Morris disguising some of the coverages, throwing in some wrinkles, running things out there that looked similar but came with blitzes from different angles and things like that. So I'm really excited to see what Raheem Morris is going to do this season. But after looking at the numbers, and which is something that, because what they say, the numbers don't lie. After looking at the numbers, I think I'm going to have to change my tune, right? I so wanted to say that I was going to back Raheem Morris in a pinch and trust him to deliver a win, deliver a victory, because I pitted Raheem Morris versus Dirk Koetter. And I have way more faith in Raheem Morris than I do Dirk Koetter. But the thing that I have said, and you can go back and look at some older videos and hear me say it, so I have to stick with the things that I've said. Dirk Koetter is as good as his talent. Well, they have definitely surrounded him with more talent this year than he had last year, as far as what the NFL considers to be talent, which is, first round grades. I mean, you got him, Laquan Treadwell, you got Hayden Hurst, you got Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, you got Todd Gurley. I mean, these are just your first round offensive weapons. We're not even talking about the potential first round of the offensive line. Now, there's the real thing. Now, there's the thing that's really going to make or break whether this offense can lead the charge, whether this offense can keep this team in a game, and that's going to be the offensive line. If the offensive line can gel and protect Matt Ryan and keep him upright, I mean, the man took 50 sacks last year. That is insane, and that can't happen again. If they even come close to being a cohesive unit, then yeah, the offense, I'll trust the offense all day long. I'll trust the offense to score another touchdown versus the defense to stop somebody. Because I will say this, where they made strides in the second half of last season, it's not like they became an elite offense in the second half. I know we like to praise them. I am one of them that likes to talk about the turnaround. from the first half to the second half, that to me screamed more of scheme changing than it did talent. Okay, because if they hung their hat on talent, they would have brought back Adrian Claiborne. They would have brought back Jack Crawford. They wouldn't have got rid of Vic Beasley. They wouldn't have got rid of Desmond Trufant. They realized that their pieces weren't working on defense. So they knew that that their turnaround was scheme based, and they knew that they needed better players for that scheme. Hence, they went out and got A.J. Terrell, Deion Buchanan, Charles Harris, Dante Fowler. I mean, they brought back Allen Bailey and Tyler Davidson, but they just about remade this entire defense. Now, you ask me, JR, who do you trust more, Raheem Morris or Dirk Koetter? I trust Raheem Morris, in a sense that I've seen Raheem Morris be able to adapt. Dirk Koetter can be at times mind-boggling and maddening in his almost vanilla type scheme. Now, you saw some wrinkles. You saw the way he used Calvin Ridley in an end around a few times. You saw the direct snap to Kenyon Barner in one of those one of the Carolina games, I believe. But the creativity is there. Just Dirk Koetter just needs elite talent. Well, they have surrounded him with elite talent now. Let's hope that it manifests on the field, because from the first half to the second half, it's not like the offense performed that much different last year. So I guess I've talked myself in a circle in a way, which I'm real good at doing. If any of y'all watch these videos, y'all probably realize that I am pretty good at talking myself in a corner. But the talent says that you got to go with the offense. Last possession, 2 minutes left on the clock, no timeouts, you need a score. Or, to me, that says that you got to go with the offense. That's what the numbers tell me. That's what the stats tell me. But at this junction, my heart still tells me that it's the defense. And if I'm going to rest my hat on anything, I'm going to rest it on that monster Grady Jarrett. And I'm going to rest it on Deion Jones to pick six, just like he did with freaking Jameis Winston at the end of last year in the overtime. Pick six and took it to the house. So, yes, you should choose the offense. But my heart, my gut right now is telling me, until I see different, until I see boots on field, that I trust the defense to go out there and make a stop and get me the ball back. Because if they can do that, that's what's going to end up winning you more games than not. That's all I got for you folks. I appreciate y'all hanging in there with us. Like I said, I got this topic from Twitter. So if y'all want to send me another topic, there's something y'all want me to talk about, something y'all want me to cover, especially in this slow time, y'all can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Grimm1128. That's GRIMM1128. Toby D is at Toby D1991. You can tag either one of us in a topic or discussion that you want us to chime in on. Also, you can send it direct to us at Gmail at poundforpound@gmail.com. That's POUND, the number 4, POUNDATL@gmail.com. Those are the easiest ways to reach us, and we appreciate all the love and support y'all have given us over the past few weeks with helping us give out gift cards and give out links to videos and stuff like that. But hey, let me know in the comments down below, who do you choose? Who you riding with? 2 minutes left on the clock. Who you want out on the field? Do you want Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, or do you want Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones? Let me know down in the comments down below. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.